Good evening and thank you for joining us on Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I'm Naja Atutijani and we begin with security matters. The resumed meeting of the National Security Council has ended at the presidential villa. The crucial meeting was summoned by President Muhammadu Buhari to find lasting solutions to the persistent challenges of security in parts of the country. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu reports.
The National Security Council meeting, which started Friday last week, critically analyzed the worrisome security situation in parts of the country, challenges associated with containment efforts, and what needs to be done urgently towards the restoration of normalcy. Convener of the crucial meeting, President Muhammadu Buhari, is worried over the renewed attacks on soft targets by insurgents, bandits, and other criminal elements to undermine national security and stability. Consequently, participants including Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, Ministers of Defense, Justice, Interior, Police and Foreign Affairs, the National Security Advisor, service chiefs and heads of other security as well as intelligence agencies took turns to either ask questions or make observations and suggestions on the best way forward. President Muhammadu Buhari had told the council that he is prepared to take profound measures in the wider interests of Nigeria and Nigerians. His optimism remains unshaken that the forces of evil marauding about in different parts of the country will be defeated, as the president insists containing kidnapping for ransom, banditry, and other acts of lawlessness bedeviling the country is a task that must be done. Efforts made by NTA News to hear from the participants on the resolutions adopted at the strategic meeting were unsuccessful. Wait. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Similarly, the Senate is to receive briefing from Service Chiefs, Director General of the National Intelligence Agency and other security heads on the state of Nigeria's security situation. The meeting, scheduled to be the only item on the order paper for Thursday, 6th May 2021, is expected to provide first-hand information which will equip the legislators make informed recommendations on how to address Nigeria's security challenges. On the other hand, Senator Uche Ekwunife drew the attention of the Senate to the fire outbreak at the popular Paul Motor Spare Parts Market in Anambra State on 26 April 2021. The motion called for urgent national intervention by the federal government through the provision of relief materials to victims. The presidency has given more insight into the gravity of an alert by the Department of State Services on sinister motives by misguided elements to wreak havoc on the government, sovereignty and corporate existence of the country. A statement by the Special Advisor to the President, Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, indicates that evidence of these abound, that these disruptive elements are now recruiting the leadership of some ethnic groups and politicians around the country to convene some sort of conference where a vote of no confidence will be passed on the president, thus throwing the land into turmoil. The agents hope to achieve what they failed to do through the ballot box in the 2019 elections. The statement adds that Nigerians have opted for democratic rule, and the only accepted way to change a democratically elected government is through elections, and the presidency, already vested with mandate and authority by Nigerians till 2023, pledges to keep the country together, even if some unruly feathers would be ruffled in the process. And to health now. The Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19 has announced some measures taken to protect Nigeria from the deadly variant of COVID-19. A statement from the chairman of the Presidential Steering Committee and secretary to the government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, indicates that after a risk assessment, an interim travel advisory has been issued on passengers and airlines from India, Turkey and Brazil as precautionary measures to minimize the risk of a surge in COVID-19 cases in Nigeria. This is Nationwide. Let's join Kehinde in Lagos for more on security.
Najatu and welcome to Lagos. As the country continues to grapple with insecurity, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu says the state is poised to enhance intelligence gathering capacity of security agencies to preempt and nip organized crime in the bud. He stated this at a Ramadan lecture on prayer and national security organized at the State House in Lagos. Musa Toliat completes the report.
Security breaches and various forms of criminality have continued to stretch security architecture across the country. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu said his commitment to protecting lives and property of Lagos residents is unwavering, adding that the current situation calls for a bold arrangement to step up security surveillance across the metropolis.
We will do everything that is important to ensure that we keep our state safe, that will create opportunity for every one of you, for all of our businesses, for the youth in our midst.
Islamic scholars stress the need for spiritual support to complement physical combat with a view to curbing insecurity in the country.
We need to rejig the arrangement so that Lagos will continue to be an example for others.
The event also offered a platform for political leaders to admonish those calling for secession in some parts of the country.
We just have to build and tolerate each other, express love and harmony. Understanding and management of anger is the solution to what we have on the ground.
We are praying for security, praying for peace.
Muhammadu Buhari is trying for this to see how this security, especially in this Ramadan time, people have been praying all over the country to see everything is going well in the country.
The Ramadan lecture is one in series organized by Lagos State Government to emphasize the need for spirituality in governance. In Lagos, Musa Toliat, NTA News.
The COVID-19 pandemic has had profound impact on virtually every aspect of life. The labor market is no exemption from the transmission of the virus in workplaces to occupational safety and health risks that have emerged from the pandemic. Lynn Nilike in this report seeks opinion of experts on possible ways of managing health and safety in workplaces, especially in a COVID-19 era.
Call them civil servants, military personnel, or industry holders, you are not wrong. They are all workers rendering vital services in various ways, which contributes to the nation's economic growth. And it is understandable that only a healthy and happy person can carry out his or her job perfectly. It is against this backdrop that the organized labor is insisting on adequate measures and strategies that would strengthen national occupational safety and health systems that can stand the test of time for workers based on lessons learned from COVID-19 pandemic.
COVID-19 has catapulted a lot of things so much that even the work that was existing is gone. We want to address the issues of what is work, what should work be, how do we go about it, and at the same time protect workers.
Most of the companies were hit hard and during the COVID. And what actually happened, that most of these companies are not very buoyant. The most important thing is that we should be prepared.
We should not forget that it's not just the government that can do everything, that the private sector, even the small businesses, one-man business, has a role to play.
It's a collective responsibility, and when we join our hands together, we will be able to give the best. We will be able to attain that decent work agenda that will be desirable.
Now we know how to advance better the cause of decent work for everyone in the world.
As actions to mitigate the spread of the virus continues, new forms of operational arrangements were adopted. These include teleworking, otherwise known as working from home formula, which presents opportunities for workers to sustain the trend and redouble their efforts in ensuring they meet up with the requirements and available opportunities, which will in turn enhance performance. In Lagos, Lane Lenake, NTA News.
You're still watching Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. We'll take a short break now. The news continues with Najatu in Abuja after the break.
If you're just joining us, this is Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. We're talking digital matters now. The federal government is partnering Microsoft to accelerate Nigeria's advance towards a more digital economy in line with the Economic Sustainability Plan. With the Digital Transformation Plan, no less than 5 million Nigerians will benefit from a digital upscale program, and locations in each of the 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria will also enjoy active internet connection and cloud services. State House correspondent Chide Onifade reports.
The partnership with Microsoft Corporation anchored on connectivity, scaling, and digital transformation followed discussions between both parties, led by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo and Microsoft President Brad Smith earlier in the year.
Working with Microsoft, we intend to upskill 5 million Nigerians through this increased internet access over the next 3 years in various digital skills, which will increase both employability and entrepreneurship.
Speaking in a formal video announcement of the partnership with the tech giant, Vice President Osinbajo says government is committed to leveraging innovation and technology to bring better outcomes across a wide area of governance concerns.
We want to bridge gaps, strengthen connections, and ensure that no one is left behind. Partnerships like this are crucial to achieving these objectives, and I'd like to especially appreciate and thank our friends and partners, the Microsoft team, for the hard work and diligence and commitment that has made this partnership come to fruition so quickly.
The Vice President says the launch is indicative of commitment and will involve collaboration with various government agencies as implementing partners. Chide Onifade, NT News.
The House of Representatives is initiating a legal backing to enhance implementation of social investment programs targeted at vulnerable citizens of Nigeria. To this end, it has passed for second reading a bill seeking to establish a national social investment program. The bill also seeks the establishment of a coordination office within the relevant ministry. The bill is sponsored by House Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila, the Deputy Speaker Ahmed Idris Wasi, and 10 others. It makes provisions for the creation of a trust fund to alleviate poverty, assist the vulnerable, and empower the poor. The targeted groups include the aged, the students, unemployed, and the infirm. The federal government has approved the extension of the deadline for NIN-SIM data verification to 30th June 2021. A joint statement by Director, Public Affairs, Nigerian Communications Commission, Dr. Ikechukwu Adinde, and Head, Corporate Communications, National Identity Management Commission, Kayode Adegoke. The extension follows requests by key industry players to accommodate all citizens and legal residents in the registration process. So far, about 54 million people have obtained their NIN, which translates to up to 190 million mobile numbers, as empirical evidence suggests that each unique NIN maps up to 3 to 4 phone lines. The much-awaited Android enrollment system is also now ready for deployment, and this has the potential to significantly accelerate the speed and ease of enrollments. Furthermore, the telecom providers and other enrollment agents have also opened several centers across the country to make it easier for eligible citizens and residents to obtain and link their NINs. Port Harcourt is the next stop for Nationwide with Gabrielle as our guide. Hello, Gabrielle.
Hello, welcome to Port Harcourt. Drug abuse has been said to increase the risk of health-related challenges, resulting in an increased risk of illness, injury, death, accident, and risky sexual behaviors. This was the view of experts and residents of Port Harcourt, who spoke with Nkiru Onyejese on the dangers and effects of drug abuse, especially amongst the youths. Reports.
Drug intake or drug abuse is one of the major health-related problems among Nigerian youths and has been a source of concern to national security. It is also said to be a major public health, social and individual problem, and is seen to be an aggravating factor for economic crisis.
In recent times, that many youths have been taking various hard drugs, whether it's tramadol, Colorado, or even the marijuana as we know. Yeah, they are hard drugs. Administering bodies like NDLEA, they deem them to be very harmful.
The drug you are taking affects your central nervous system. And apart from your central nervous system, like other drugs like tramadol, somebody that takes tramadol for a longer period, they start having what they call seizure. Somebody falling as if he has epilepsy.
You know what drug means to an average human being. And when you indulge in it, you think that people around you are ordinary ants. I only wished that the youth of nowadays will know that it doesn't pay to indulge in drugs.
Our law is very stringent to those who are producers and sellers of this drug. Our minimum, at least 25 years imprisonment.
Some of the drugs that are commonly abused by youths include tobacco, alcohol, cannabis, opium, marijuana, and tramadol, amongst others. In Port Harcourt, I am Nkiru Onyejisi, NTA News.
How Nigeria will leverage on the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area Treaty and the Nigerian National Quality Placed Weights and Measures perspective dominated a discourse amongst stakeholders given its comparative advantage over other African countries through international best practices through trading. Achibun Basu reports that the event was organized by the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment in Calabar. His reports.
On March 21st, 2018, at the end of the 10th extraordinary session of heads of state and government of the African Union, 54 of the 55 member states of the Union signed the treaty establishing the African Continental Free Trade Area to enhance the competitiveness of the economies of member states within the continent and the global market. Stakeholders at this workshop therefore say Nigeria stands a chance of experiencing industrial growth given her favorable human, agricultural, and solid mineral resource potential, which could also attract foreign direct investment and create more employment opportunities for Nigerians.
When you have fellow competitors, you would like to give good quality or high quality, and then you would also like to keep your price as reasonable as possible.
States, local government cannot legislate on weight and measures, just as what they cannot legislate on customs and other agencies. It's purely federal government.
The Weight and Measures Department was established to create uniformity of measurements for trade, build trust for trade, quality assurance, as well as safety of goods and services. In Calabar, Achibon Basi, NTA News.
That's our contribution from Port Harcourt. Back to you, Najatu.
Gabrielle. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu says the Commission has not made any formal statement on the number of new polling units to be created, as the Commission is still in the process. Professor Mahmoud Yakubu made this known while inspecting some proposed areas marked for the exercise in the Federal Capital Territory and Nasarawa State.
The purpose of the visit is the verification that the Commission is embarking upon. All the national commissioners are out in the country visiting the states of the Federation to verify the work of converting the voting points into polling units. Yes, so far so good, but it's work in progress. At the end of the exercise, we'll address the media.
Ogidi reports that INEC is, however, in its final stage of announcing the new polling units, as the resumption of continuous voter registration exercise is slated for June. Meanwhile, the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, is championing a policy brief which will ultimately lead to reduction in cost of governance in Nigeria. Experts met in Abuja to hold a dialogue in a first step towards actualizing the policy brief. Kelvin Ewunaye reports.
Revenue generation to finance projects and meet other government expenditures is increasingly becoming a challenge, no thanks to dwindling oil revenues and impact of COVID-19 on the nation's economy. For financial experts, the time to act is now, and one way of going around the challenge is reducing the high cost of governance in Nigeria. This policy dialogue by the ICPC is to start the conversations to identify areas of bogus expenditure and examine the impact of corruption in payroll administration, overhead costs in MDAs, project and election financing, among others, drivers of corruption.
Reviewing the number of government agencies that are currently existing, we'll be reviewing their mandates, and then where we have agencies that are having the same mandate, we need to look at how to merge and fuse, or in fact, close down on some, just to reduce the size of expenditure of government.
Thousands of projects are repeated annually in the budget without diligent scrutiny of need, implementation, or otherwise. Some are duplicated as annual zonal intervention projects, otherwise called constituency projects of the legislature, while also featuring as projects of the executive. Funding is released for both insertions without any mechanism for monitoring and evaluation and reconciliation of funding.
The brief, expected to emanate from the policy dialogue, is one of ICPC's key performance indicators in the implementation of the National Anti-Corruption Roadmap. In Abuja, Kelvin Ewunaye, NTA News.
Now recall there was a digital switchover in Lagos, and now a 2022 target has been set for the completion of the digital switchover project across the country. This is expected to provide television viewers across the country with a new viewing experience with access to multiple channels, while increasing the revenue that could accrue to the Federation account from more efficient use of broadcast spectrum. These were some of the revelations on Good Morning Nigeria, which discussed the digital rollout in Lagos. Ekimini Williams reports.
Lagos recently became the latest state in Nigeria to come aboard the train of the digital switchover project, a process in which analog television broadcasting is replaced with digital television, thereby freeing up large amounts of bandwidth for other digital services. Within the next 6 months, the estimated over 5 million television viewers in Lagos will now have access to some 60 channels using set-top boxes for a fee as low as 1,500 naira yearly. This is one of the dividends expected from the digital switchover, which is also expected to be a catalyst for substantial job creation in the broadcast industry and greater internet protocols and other telecommunication services penetration in Nigeria.
It is free. It is free because it is also the responsibility of government to give access of information to the Nigerian people. Don't forget that when we transit, the only mode for reception of news, content, entertainment will be through the DTT.
The creative industry, especially in terms of content, will be the greatest beneficiary.
But if the government looks at it from the perspective that, okay, if we give these people boxes and then we can collect revenue from them, the DAF, for the next 5 years, 10 years, I think we can find a meeting point where, you know, this could actually be a sort of palliative, especially as government needs to continually reach out to these people in terms of information.
Chairman of the DG team, Engineer Edward Amana, says the digital rollover will be moving to Kano next, and a target of 2022 has been set to accomplish national coverage.
Spectrum cost, I think around 2018, was like $14 million per megahertz. All right? When you multiply $14 million by 168, you are looking at over $2.3 billion. That is amount accruing to government as an immediate dividend from the DSO. All right? Now, and this amount is a recurring thing because If you license a telecom for, I think they are licensed between 15 and 20 years, at the end of the expiration of that license, they have to pay the same license fee again.
The digital switchover, also known as Free TV, was launched in Jos in 2017, while Abuja followed in 2017. In Abuja, Ekemini Williams, NTA News.
Preparations to avert flooding are underway in Ibadan, where Lanre is standing by and will give us updates.
Hello Najhatu and welcome to Ibadan. The raining season is gradually setting in and people living along Asa River bank in Ilorin, the Kwara State capital, are beginning to nurse fear against the annual flood usually experienced. Damilola Balogun Elebio takes a look at the present situation of Asa River and efforts by governments to avert flooding in Ilorin metropolis during this year's raining season.
The lives lost and other havoc wreaked by flood last year in Ilorin, particularly in areas like Taiwo, Coca-Cola Road, Isale Koko, Mubo Street, and Minlegbe, is still fresh in the memory of residents. Asa River is a major river in Ilorin, the Kwara State capital, and its tributary spreads across the nooks and crannies of the city, and it is a major contributor to flood, especially when it overflows its bank or it's filled with refuse dumped inside it.
As far as government does not come out with a policy of stopping flooding, and we continue dumping refugees by riversides, this problem cannot be solved.
I think what the government should do is to organize a task force, some kind of task force, so that to check people that are throwing rubbish into the gutters.
Is there any plan by the state government to avert the reoccurrence of flood this year?
There is another work of dredging. So it's not a once and for all exercise. So very soon actions will be taken, people will be penalized.
Just as government is making plans, it is imperative for residents also to clear their drainage channels and avoid dumping of refuse in waterways. Damilola Balogun Elebio, NTA News.
Administrative and research activities were disrupted at the Nigerian Institute of Social and Economic Research, NISA, in Ibadan today. This follows a protest by the workers. Correspondent Shola Wahid was there and filing this report.
The peace of the Federal Research Establishment was disrupted as workers under the Joint Action Committee marched and sang solidarity songs in protest over what they call poor working environment instigated by poor leadership. The workers who carried placards with various inscriptions stressed that there must be a change for a progressive environment.
And this is in respect of a case of income and financial recklessness, and it's a petition by the three unions, the three in-house unions of NISA, represented by Asuri, Southrai, and NASU.
What is happening here happened again in Firo, and Firo was put in tumor for almost 6-7 months.
The workers claim that nothing positive has happened in the institution since the tenure of Director General. The Director General was not in the office when visited. In Ibadan, Shola Wahid, NTA News.
You're still watching Nationwide from the network service of NTA. More reports after this break. Stay with us.
Thanks for staying with the NTA. 1,506 special constables in Kwara State have completed their training and are set to resume community policing. Kwara State Governor Abdurrahman Abdurrazak describes the initiative as a boost to security in the state. Raliat Ibrahim reports.
Special constabularies always serve in the community where their residents were trained in policing and intelligence gathering. One of their duties include getting information to the police for prompt action. Governor Abdurrahman Abdurrazak commends President Muhammadu Buhari for ensuring the implementation of the policy as proposed by the Inspector General of Police. He believes the policy will boost the security architecture of the state. Commissioner of Police Mohammed Bagaga says the constabularies were chosen from their local government area areas and should be steadfast in discharging their duties, which will make their communities safer.
We are all aware of the security challenges plaguing our country, ranging from terrorism, kidnapping, armed robbery, rape, etc. The Nigerian police and other security agencies have been doing their best to protect lives and property of all Nigerians.
The 1,506 special constabularies were chosen from the 16 local government areas of Kwara State and will start work immediately. Raliat Ibrahim, NTA News.
Thank you, Raliat. Akwa Ibom State Government says anyone connected to the death of late Miss Inyubong Umoren, who was allegedly abducted, raped and murdered, will face the full weight of the law. Governor Udom Emmanuel said this when he visited the family of the deceased in Oruk Anam local government area. Susan Asukwo reports.
The gruesome murder of young Miss Inyubong Ephraim Umoren, a 26-year-old graduate of Department of Philosophy, University of Uyo, has attracted condemnations from all quarters. In a condolence visit to the family of the deceased, Governor Udom Emmanuel, who was represented by Secretary to the state government, expressed deep pains over the gruesome and barbaric murder of a promising young woman who went in search of a job. Governor Emmanuel promised that state government support to the remaining members of the family, assuring that everyone connected to her death will be made to face the law.
He is the chief security officer of the state, and he works with the police force. The police, they are on top of it. They're conducting the investigation, and you have to allow that process to continue. And when they are through with their investigation, they'll do the needful prosecution on. They are orphans. Their parents, both parents had passed on and working hard to earn a living. And as the brother said, they're all graduates struggling on their own. Why should that struggle end in this kind of tragedy for Inyubong? It's painful.
Elder brother of the deceased, Misukeme Umoren, described the death of his younger sister, late Inyubong Umoren, as very painful.
We can make justice for my sister, whoever that is involved.
Late Inyubong Umoren set out on Thursday, April 29 in search of a job while waiting for her call-up later for the National Youth Service Corps. She was allegedly abducted, raped and murdered by one Frank Odwak Akpan, who invited her for a job interview along Airport Road in Akwa Ibom State. From Oruganam local government area, Susan Asukwo, NTA News.
And from Uyo, we head to Kaduna, where Salamatu is standing by with more reports. Good evening, Salamatu.
Good evening, Najatu, and welcome to Kaduna. Repair on the damaged portions of the Lagos-Kaduna-Zaria narrow gauge, which resulted in the derailment of a Zaria-bound goods train, is progressing. Haruna Mohammed has the details.
Vandalism of the rail line and cutting away of sleepers cliff from some portions of the track were said to have been responsible for the incident which occurred Saturday afternoon at Ngwankanawa in Kaduna. The 15-wagon goods train conveying 870 tons of water pipes from Lagos to Zaria lost its bearing on the damaged portion, emptying some of the goods.
The wagon came suddenly towards us and we ran for safety.
After an assessment of the vandalized portions by the officials of the railway and other stakeholders, repairs commenced.
We moved to the site of the accident with all our machineries. We have something we call BDT, breakdown train. The BDT is a composition of all the machinery tools that are and personnel that are required to come up with derailments.
People need to be made aware of the use of the rail track.
It is important that communities, everybody gets to know that the rails are back again, and it is important that we address how we relate to the tracks going forward.
In the meantime, the remaining load standing on the rail has been evacuated to Kaduna Railway Station for safekeeping.
It is expected that in the next few days, the destroyed track and railway sleepers clip vandalized will be restored and it will be fit for traffic. In Kaduna, Haruna Mohammed, NTA News.
Nigerian Army Officers' Wives Association, 1 Division, has donated relief materials to wounded officers and soldiers who are receiving medical attention at the 44 Army Reference Hospital, Kaduna. Achari Maxwell reports.
Are officers and soldiers of the Nigerian army wounded in the theater of operations against insurgency in the northeast and banditry in some states of the northwest.
Sokoto actually is down to Kebbi State. The entire north, all wounded national soldiers are brought in here for their care.
There are about 400 of them at this facility. In the spirit of Ramadan fast, members of the Nigerian Army Officers' Wives Association paid a sympathy visit and donated sanitary materials, beddings, and other consumables to them.
I'm solely behind the wounded soldiers. I feel for them, I'm with them. I know that their sufferings and wounds are not in vain, but rather it shows an act of bravery and resilience.
The officers' wives appreciated management of the hospital for the attention being given to the wounded soldiers. In Kaduna, Achari Maxwell, NTA News.
And that concludes our reports from Kaduna. Is back to Najatu in Abuja.
Thank you, Salamatu. Officers and men of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps at the headquarters in Abuja are halfway to becoming fortified against COVID-19 as having taken the first jab of the AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine. Abdurrahman Usman Jibrila reports.
A significant jab received by a leader exemplified. And one after the other, officers and men of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps took turns to be vaccinated against COVID-19. More than 55,000 personnel and their families are targeted, with officials of the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency supervising.
If my men will get the vaccine all over the country, I will be glad, because that will boost their health, and therefore their performance will improve.
They have taken their health issues in their hands, and given the second dose, they will be completely vaccinated, and they will be as safe as that word to go out there and give us more protections.
You say you have to seek for a protection of any illness that you are in. So with this reason, there's nobody can come around and tell us that this vaccination that we are taking is against Islamic religion.
Faith in the Christian faith, it is not against the Christian doctrine. It is part of our norm as a Christian to prevent ourselves from any form of diseases.
Fortifying security personnel against the deadly virus is seen by many as most appropriate to enable them face challenges of securing the nation. In Abuja, Abrahman Usman Jibrila, NTA News.
Now for an update on the pandemic in Nigeria. 18 new COVID-19 infections have been recorded nationwide within the last 24 hours, bringing the country's total confirmed cases to 165,199. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, indicates that among the new cases, Lagos has 8, the FCT 6, Edo 2, while Rivers and Ogun have 1 case each. The total number of those discharged so far, 155,371, while the death toll remains 2,063. In the spirit of the ongoing Ramadan fast, widows and orphans have been presented with food items by the Al-Ansar non-governmental organization in Kuje Area Council of the Federal Capital Territory. The donation is part of efforts at rekindling hope amongst the less privileged. Rosemary Mortleng-Bilan reports.
Created many years ago by some women working in Abuja, Al-Ansar Home got registered to assist the less privileged, widows and orphans like Abdul Aziz and his twin sister Fatima, who lost their parents to insurgency as a means of saving them begging on the street. The Amira of the association, Amina Abubakar, while presenting the item, said the gesture was to assist the widows, orphans and less privileged to alleviate their plight this Ramadan.
It was established in 2003. A group of women, about 10-15 of us, came together to form an Ansar. Our aim was to help less privileged, especially women and children, and we concentrated on orphans. So that was why we went around, and we have been on since 2017. And we have about 30 or so inmates in the home.
Most of them are from Borno State, Maiduguri.
Yours sincerely was not left out of the iftar. Nothing but a big thank you was the reply Al Ansar got from beneficiaries who could not hide back emotions at the kindness done to them.
This is what they used to do with us every year, not this only year, now every year. So we thank all God Mighty Allah that make them to remember us. May God provide more for them.
Variety of food items were donated. Rosemary Moltele, Bilal, NTA News.
Thank you, Rose. The Northeast Development Commission has presented to Yobe State Government a consignment of food and non-food items for onward distribution to people affected by recent insurgent attacks in the state. The chairperson, House of Representatives Committee of the Commission, Khadija Bukar Abba, and the managing director, Mohamed Goni Al-Ali, handed over the items to the state deputy governor for delivery to the targeted beneficiaries. Adam Yusuf Ali reports.
The consignment of assorted relief materials were handed over to the State Deputy Governor Idi Bardegubana by the Managing Director of the Northeast Development Commission, Mohamed Goni Al-Ali, in company of the Chairman House Representatives of the Commission, Khadija Bukar Abba Ibrahim, in Damaturu, the state capital. This is after the Northeast Development Commission delegation, in a meeting with Yobe State Government, commiserated with residents of Gaidam and Kanama.
We, the Commission, we are always that support you and provide the necessary facilities, necessary support, and we are going to work as partners.
The State Deputy Governor, Idi Bardegubana, and the Commissioner of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management, Abubakar Garba Ilya, appreciated the Northeast Development Commission for the timely intervention.
The Northeast Development Commission has been providing strong partnership with us in the first instance settlement, rehabilitation and construction drive of the state.
Under its Rapid Response Initiative, the Northeast Development Commission has provided facilities across Yobe State with 94 projects in health, education, water supply and sanitation, as 80% of such ongoing projects at 80% level of completion. In Damaturu, Adam Yusuf Ali, NTA News.
Similarly, more than 2,400 IDPs at Gawarmela camp and surrounding host communities in the heart of Maiduguri, Borno State, have benefited from federal government distribution of food and empowerment items. The Federal Commissioner, National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons, Bashir Garba Mohammed, distributed the food and livelihood support items to the target persons. Yagum Subukar reports.
To be recalled sometimes in January this year following an interaction with internally displaced persons of Kaurmila, the Federal Commissioner, National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons, Bashir Garba Mohammed had pledged to support the IDPs with food and other supplies as part of the Commission's mandate. In fulfillment of the Commission's pledge, 290 households benefited from food items, while 145 households received non-food items, as well as empowerment tools, where 16 persons got grinding machines, 20 deep freezers, 10 generators, and 9 having sewing machines. Flagging off distribution of the items, Federal Commissioner, National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons, Bashir Garba Mohammed, assisted by Chairman Board of Trustees of the Commission, Peter Bie, implored the IDPs to use the items to cushion the effect of their hardship.
The Commission is a friend to the state government, and of course, this gesture is an extension of other gestures from the federal government under the leadership of Muhammadu Buhari.
Director Operations Borno State Emergency Management Agency Abdullahi Suleiman appreciated the Commission for coming to the aid of the IDPs. Overwhelmed by the gesture done them, the beneficiaries expressed optimism that the items will immensely assist in uplifting their means of livelihood. In Maiduguri, Yagum Subukar, NTA News.
In other news, Bill and Melinda Gates have announced their divorce after 27 years of marriage, saying they no longer believe they can grow together as a couple. The co-founders of one of the world's largest private charitable foundations tweeted that after a great deal of thought and a lot of work on their relationship, they have made the decision to end their marriage. Details with Justin Bem-Onyi.
Bill and Melinda Gates, two of the richest people in the world who reshaped philanthropy and public health with the fortune Mr. Gates made as a co-founder of Microsoft, on Monday announced their divorce. For decades, Mr. and Ms. Gates have been powerful forces on the world stage, their vast charitable contributions affording them access to the highest levels of government, business and the non-profit sector. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, with an endowment of some $50 billion, has had immense influence in fields like global health and early childhood education, and has made great strides in reducing deaths caused by malaria and other infectious diseases. Over the past year, the couple has been especially visible, regularly commenting on the worldwide fight against COVID-19, as their foundation spent more than $1 billion to combat the pandemic. In a statement that was posted to Twitter, Mr. and Ms. Gates said, "After a great deal of thought and a lot of work on our relationship, we have made a decision to end our marriage." They went on to say that they had built a foundation that works all over the world to enable all people to live healthy, productive lives, and that they continue to share a belief in that mission. But they no longer believe they can grow together as a couple in the next phase of their lives. The foundation said in a statement that Mr. and Ms. Gates would remain co-chairs and trustees and that no changes were expected at the organization. Bill, 65, stepped down from Microsoft's board last year to focus on his philanthropic activities. The Gates, along with investor Warren Buffett, are behind the Giving Pledge, which calls on billionaires to commit to giving away the majority of their wealth to good causes. Bill Gates is the fourth wealthiest person in the world, according to Forbes, and is worth $124 billion. Justin Bem-Onyi, NTA News.
And in the world of sports, Sports Minister Sunday Dare inaugurates caretaker committees for sports federations in Abuja. Olumide Eguntola has details.
30 caretaker committees chairmen of the various sports federations has been inaugurated on Tuesday in Abuja with a call by the Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Sunday Dare, to take sports to the next level. The newly inaugurated committees will oversee the affairs of the federation, pending when fresh elections are conducted and new boards inaugurated.
The caretaker committees are thus specially selected to reflect our aspirations towards podium appearances at the Tokyo Olympics. Your job will terminate immediately after the Olympics, as elections into the federations will be guided by their constitutions.
In basketball, Nigeria's representative at the maiden edition of the Basketball African League, Rivers Upas, left the country for Rwanda on Monday evening. The tournament is scheduled for the 16th to 30th of May at the Kigali Arena. The three-time league champions are drawn in Group A, alongside their counterparts from Rwanda, Madagascar, and Tunisia.
Number one point now is that we need to get out of our group, qualify for the quarterfinals, and from there everything would take its rightful place.
We are the only team representing Nigeria, so I know next season everybody will up their game, try to see how they can be part of it.
In football, actions continue on Wednesday in the Nigerian National League when Team Taraba takes on Gombe. Nigerian Air Force will trade tackles with Rara FC. It will be Mighty Jets against Green Beret, among other matches. From the UEFA Champions League, Manchester City will attempt to qualify for its first ever final on Tuesday night when the team takes on Paris Saint-Germain. With a 2-1 aggregate scoreline advantage, Chelsea, with an away goal advantage, will take on Real Madrid in the second leg of the second semi-final on Wednesday with a 1-1 aggregate scoreline. With sports updates, Olumide Eguntola, NTA News.
Sports Updates concludes the news on Nationwide. Thanks for watching, but do remember to stand with NTA against rape and rapists. I'm Najat Tijani.